The Las Vegas Raiders made their final selections of the third round with back-to-back picks at 98 and 99, and they made a strong statement by focusing on the offensive line. First off, they drafted Caleb Rodgers, a tackle from Texas Tech. Although he lined up at tackle in college, he likely projects as a guard at the next level. Rodgers brings explosive movement to the table and shows tremendous upside. Right after that, the Raiders selected Charles Grant from William and Mary. Like Rodgers, Grant played tackle but could transition to guard in the NFL. It's worth noting that player development can be unpredictable. While some linemen successfully switch to guard, others stay at tackle and thrive. Landing two offensive linemen back-to-back is a big step forward for the Raiders' offensive front. Between the two, Grant especially stands out as a promising prospect, though Rodgers has plenty of talent as well. Rodgers' athletic profile is impressive. He earned a relative athletic score, ARAS, of 9.43 out of 10, ranking 80th among 1,395 offensive tackles evaluated from 1987 to 2025. He measured in at 6'4", 5'8", and 312 pounds. What really separates Rodgers are his movement drills. His 40-yard dash scored an 8.43 out of 10, placing him in the 84th percentile among offensive linemen. His 20-yard split was even faster, and his shuttle time ranked in the 95th percentile. His three-cone drill performance also put him among the top 10%, a critical measure for evaluating an offensive lineman's agility and change of direction ability, traits seen in some of today's elite tackles, like Christian Darrisaw. Both Rodgers and Grant tested extremely well athletically, which fits the Raiders' goal of rebuilding the offensive line with quicker, more agile players. In addition to these draft picks, the team signed veteran guard Alex Kappa on a one-year deal, giving them even more flexibility. If Kappa performs well, he could earn a longer stay. But for now, the Raiders need to sort out their interior line spots and right tackle competition. Expect a training camp battle between Rodgers, Grant, and second-year lineman DJ Glaze. Glaze, who already has over 1,000 snaps under his belt, may have a slight advantage based on experience. However, there's a shift in the system now. With Tom Telesco no longer involved, the executive who originally drafted Glaze, it remains to be seen if Glaze fits into the Raiders' new offensive strategy. One thing is clear, Rodgers and Grant are built differently than Glaze. While Glaze brings strength to the line, Rodgers and Grant offer more speed and quickness. Given Chip Kelly's influence on the offensive scheme, it seems the Raiders are targeting linemen who can move, pull, and adapt quickly. Exactly the kind of players John Spiker has also favored in past drafts. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter where you're ranked. If you're a top 5 tackle, you're a top 5 tackle. Still, it's exciting to see the Raiders bringing in both Caleb Rodgers and Charles Grant. Starting with Rodgers, he played right tackle at Texas Tech and was absolutely dominant as a run blocker. His quickness and ability to reach defenders are elite. He's not just fast, he's physical too. Rodgers doesn't just get in the way. He finishes blocks and puts defenders into the ground. Honestly, I didn't expect Rodgers to be picked this high, but it makes sense. Texas Tech may not be a powerhouse compared to some other schools, but it's still a strong program. And when you factor in scheme fit, especially for what Chip Kelly wants, Rodgers makes perfect sense. He's an elite reach blocker, can climb to the second level, and has the smarts you want on your offensive line. We've seen examples of this before. Take Matthew Bergeron, for example. People thought he'd be a fourth-round pick, but the Falcons loved his tape, took him earlier, and transitioned him to guard. Now he's one of the NFL's top guards after 2 strong seasons. Scheme fit can matter just as much as raw talent. Rodgers has that type of potential, and compared to Charles Grant, he comes from a higher-profile program. But that doesn't take away from Grant's upside. In fact, Grant was one of my favorite players in the entire class. Charles Grant, out of William and Mary, had a real shot at being a first-rounder before injury struck. Unfortunately, he hurt himself in his final college game, which kept him from participating in the Senior Bowl, a critical opportunity for small school prospects. Missing that showcase caused his draft stock to drop, but make no mistake, Grant dominated at William and Mary, throwing defenders around with ease. And despite not attending any All-Star games, he still went late in the 3rd round, which says a lot about his raw ability. If he had stayed healthy and played well at the Senior Bowl, he could have easily risen into the first-round conversation, just like Tyler Smith did a few years ago. Smith, coming out of Tulsa, impressed at the Senior Bowl and ended up a first-round pick. Now, he's arguably the best guard in football. Grant has that kind of ceiling. His movement skills, his shuttle and three-cone drill times are top-notch, just like Rodgers. He's athletic, physical, and smart. Honestly, I think Grant might even be a little more physical than Rodgers. If things break right, the Raiders might have found two starting offensive linemen with these back-to-back picks. And that's exactly what this team needed. I'll be honest, I'm not as confident in this next guy yet, but I do like what I've seen from his tape. I haven't watched a ton, maybe 2 games and a handful of snaps right before making this video. But even from what I saw before, I'm excited. There's real upside here. Would I have been surprised if Caleb Rodgers went in the 5th round? Probably not. Am I surprised he went in the 3rd? Definitely not. You can see the movement, the athleticism, and the upside right there on tape. Charles Grant has that same kind of potential. Honestly, I thought Grant could have gone higher, but it's clear teams are valuing health a lot more today than they did a few years ago. We've seen this play out before. Guys like Phil Haynes got huge contracts. Haynes signed with the Bears, despite struggling with injuries back with the Titans. One good year, and he cashed out for $12 million over 3 years. Same with Tevin Jenkins. The Bears drafted him in the 2nd round, but he's battled injuries ever since. These guys had elite upside, but they just couldn't stay healthy. Today, teams are more cautious. They're not willing to gamble high picks on guys with injury concerns. And for someone like Charles Grant, coming from a small school and missing the Senior Bowl, it hurt his stock. You have to show you can stay healthy, and you have to do it against top-tier competition. Now, talking about whether Caleb Rodgers and Charles Grant will start for the Raiders this season, it's way too early to say for sure. Right now, assuming Jackson Powers-Johnson starts at center, I honestly think Rodgers and Grant could be our 2 best guards. And that's not even so much about how good they are. It's also because, straight up, our guards aren't great. Dylan Parham is okay, but he's not the long-term answer at guard. Guard is the easiest position to find in the NFL. There are about 30 good ones coming out every year, but you still have to invest in finding them, and that's what the Raiders are doing. I don't think you put the pressure on these rookies to start immediately. Let them develop naturally and win the jobs over time. But if I had to guess, I'd say one of them probably starts at left guard on day 1. Jordan Meredith isn't a starting caliber guard. He's a solid backup. Alex Kappa has struggled over the last year and a half. Dylan Parham has some upside but hasn't locked anything down yet. That's why the Raiders drafted 2 guys who could compete right away. And just to be real with you guys, it's not even guaranteed that DJ Glaze will be the starting right tackle. I'm not trying to turn this negative, but based on what I saw last year, I'm not sure DJ Glaze is the future. Now, he can still develop, and I want to be clear about that. Players improve all the time. Look at Spencer Brown with the Bills. He was rough his rookie year, but he showed flashes and ended up becoming a solid starter. There's still hope, but it'll come down to who puts the work in and who can stay healthy. Now you look at a guy like Spencer Brown. He developed into a top 5 right tackle. You saw flashes even in his first year, and he took off after that. With DJ Glaze, I just don't really see that same kind of upside yet. It's not guaranteed DJ Glaze is getting replaced. It's still his job to lose, but you never know. One of these new guys could even start at right tackle. Caleb Rodgers played right tackle at Texas Tech. I'd be surprised if he's the day 1 starter, but he should definitely get opportunities at both right guard and right tackle. Same thing for Charles Grant. I'd love to see him get some reps at right tackle too. Honestly, outside of Jackson Powers-Johnson, I think Charles Grant might have the 2nd highest upside among all our offensive linemen. His tape speaks for itself. It's going to be really interesting to see how it all shakes out. If Charles Grant wins the right tackle spot, then who's playing left guard? On the flip side, if DJ Glaze locks down right tackle, then it's pretty straightforward. You move Charles Grant to left guard, since he played left tackle in college, and Caleb Rodgers to right guard, since he played right tackle in college. It just fits naturally. And listen, if everything clicks, the Raiders could have a top 10 offensive line in a year or 2. Maybe not this season because these guys still have to develop, but it's possible. Maybe even top 5 down the line. Coaching will be huge here. Gotta have a good O-line coach. But the potential is real. If you can't tell already, man, I'm excited. Shout out to Tom Telesco. Huge shout out to my guy John Spytek. Honestly, I questioned the pick of the TCU wide receiver. I questioned the cornerback pick even more. I wasn't sure what John was doing at first, but these last 2 picks, man, he absolutely nailed it. Bringing in Caleb Rodgers and Charles Grant was huge. The Raiders got so much better over the first 2 days of the draft, and if John Spytek can keep this momentum going into tomorrow, whether it's getting a guy like Dayon Walker, if he's still available, grabbing a good edge rusher, or even another running back, because there are still some explosive ones out there, man, we could be in a really, really good spot. There's even crazy value still left at wide receiver. Isaiah Bond is still on the board, which is wild. If John Spytek keeps drafting the way he has, the Raiders could be set up nicely for the future. Development is key, though. None of these guys are guaranteed day one starters. But I'll tell you right now, Caleb Rodgers has Pro Bowl potential. Charles Grant has Pro Bowl potential. Ashton Jeanty, he has all-pro potential. As for the TCU wide receiver and the cornerback, I'm a little less certain. I do think the wide receiver has a little more upside. The corner is definitely raw, but he had a really good year in zone coverage, allowing less than 100 yards all season. Just remember, PFF measures zone stats differently than man-to-man, so zone guys usually look better statistically. Either way, man, I'm fired up. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'll be dropping some film breakdowns hopefully tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Thumbs up the video, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe.